They always said I was the loser of the family, the one who'd never amount to anything. But the tables turned one Christmas when I exposed a cousin's secret that blew the whole family apart. Betrayal, blackmail, and a scandal that left me with a black eye. You won't believe what happened next. You ever grow up in a family where it feels like no matter what you do, you're just ... not enough? Yeah, that was me. The black sheep, the outsider, the one nobody bet on. While my cousins were off becoming doctors, lawyers, professors, and all those shiny respectable things, I was the one with the questionable life choices. Never mind that I built a stable passive income through smart business decisions. Never mind that I could afford a one-bedroom in New York City, miracle on its own, and lived comfortably working part-time at a cafe. That didn't matter to them. What mattered was that I didn't push myself, that I wasn't trying to be like Randy. Randy, we'll get to him in a minute. But first let me take you back to what it felt like. Imagine every holiday, every family gathering, every group chat message subtly reminding you that you were the disappointment. My parents, they led that parade. My mom would look at me with that heavy sigh, like I was some failed science experiment. My dad, he didn't even pretend to hide his disappointment. Your cousin just closed a $2 million deal, right? Still working at that shitty coffee shop. What happened to that girlfriend with the pudgy stomach? Still with her. Aren't you ever going to do something with your life? And those were the nicer comments. The worst. They didn't even feel like words, they felt like punches. I'd feel so worthless living like you. It's better you didn't try, you wouldn't amount to anything anyway. Now imagine growing up with that. Year after year. No matter what I did, it was never enough. I could be climbed Mount Everest and they would be asked why I didn't build a ski resort on top. So, I stopped trying. Not in a defeatist way, I just stopped trying to impress them. I carved out my little life. I found peace in things they never valued: quiet mornings, my girlfriend's laugh, the smell of fresh bagels, having time to breathe. I lived for me, not them. And despite what they thought, my life wasn't sad. It was good. I had love. I had freedom. I wasn't chasing money or status. I already had enough. I had peace. But then there was Randy. He was the golden child, the family icon. Imagine a human LinkedIn profile with biceps, a trust fund, and a smug grin. Yeah, everything handed to him on a silver platter. And he still managed to act like he built the damn silver mine himself. He worked for his dad's companies, surprised Dan every time he opened his mouth. It was a reminder that I was beneath him. You still flipping luck? Bet you wish you took life more seriously like I did. And his favorite one, some of us actually made it. I didn't hate him, not at first. I just ignored him, let him talk. Let him all talk. Because what's the point of arguing with people who already decided who you are? But you know how sometimes life throws you a moment. A tiny crack in the perfect mask someone wears. That's what happened one random day in the city. I wasn't looking for revenge. I wasn't plotting anything. I was just living my quiet little life when fate handed me something unexpected. Something that would change everything. And for once, I didn't turn the other cheek. Let's talk about Randy. That one cousin who just walks into a room and sucks all the oxygen out of it. That's Randy. He was the type who wore designer suits to family barbecues, talked about networking at funerals, and treated every conversation like a TED talk on how amazing his life was. But here's the thing, Randy didn't build anything. He just happened to be born into the right family. His dad owned a commercial real estate empire, so Randy walked out of college straight into a cushy executive title like it was a participation trophy. And trust me, he participated in absolutely nothing. Still, everyone worshipped the ground he strutted on. My uncles praised his hustle. My parents, they practically begged me to be more like him. He had the wife, the kids, the penthouse apartment, the Instagram perfect life filled with champagne brunches, beach vacations, and motivational captions. And every single success he had was somehow used as a weapon against me. Thanksgiving dinners, nightmare. He'd show up late, kiss everyone on the cheek like some reality show bachelor, then immediately start talking shop. Just closed another deal in Tribeca. He'd say, loud enough to drown out the sound of anyone else speaking. 7 figures. No big deal. What about you? Still at that cafe? You guys do oat milk now. Always with a little smirk. The pity in his eyes, it wasn't real pity, it was power. He knew he had the room, and he loved it. It didn't stop there. At family weddings, he'd get drunk and whisper little jabs while pretending to compliment me. Man, I respect how you're keeping it simple. That whole minimalist lifestyle, right? Like, you don't need real ambition when you're happy, just surviving. Or my personal favorite, at my own birthday dinner. You're like a monk, bro. No kids, no real job, no stress. What's that like? And everyone laughed, because when Randy talked, they listened. They laughed at me. with him. But what none of them ever seemed to notice, or maybe just chose to ignore, is the cracks in Randy's golden armor. The forced laughter, the performative marriage, the way his wife barely looked at him when they were together. Like she was reading a script she couldn't quit. I saw it, I noticed it, because when you're invisible in your own family, you get good at watching. You get good at hearing what people don't say. And Randy was hiding something. I didn't know what at the time, I didn't care. Really, I had written them all off emotionally. I was just trying to survive another year of fake smiles and subtle humiliation. But life has this funny way of serving justice when you least expect it. One random afternoon, I was walking through Manhattan, headphones in, minding my business. It was just another day, grab a bagel, check out a bookstore, wander the city like I always did on my days off. And that's when I saw Randy, not in a suit, not in some high-powered boardroom. He was on the sidewalk, strolling arm in arm with a woman who was very much not his wife. She was laughing at something he said, and he was looking at her the way guys look at their new girlfriend's eyes, hungry, a hand possessive on her hip. It was like watching a different person, a mask taken off. I stood there for a second, unsure of what to do. My first instinct, walk away. It's not my business. But then I remembered every dinner, every insult, every time he made me feel like nothing. And something in me, something I didn't even know was still alive, snapped awake. I followed him. I didn't plan it, it just happened. I stayed far enough behind, keeping a low profile. They weren't hiding it either. Holding hands, stopping for coffee, laughing like teenagers in love. I pulled out my phone, clicked one picture, then another, when they stopped in front of a boutique hotel and walked inside together. I took a deep breath and snapped one more. I didn't know what I was going to do with the photos, but I knew one thing. The golden boy wasn't so golden anymore, and for once in my life, I had the power. Hoodie up, headphones in, eyes half closed like everyone else in New York, pretending they don't notice anything around them. But then I did. Out of the corner of my eye spotted a familiar wall. You know how some people have a specific rhythm to their stride. Randy had that frat boy gym bro swagger, chest puffed out like he thought the world owed him a round of applause. And beside him was a woman, not his wife. She was younger, prettier. Christmas with my family was always fake smiles wrapped in shiny paper. Every year was the same routine: someone's overpriced home, too many dishes nobody touched, and a toxic blend of judgment and small talk disguised as tradition. I never liked going, but I went. For my soul's sake, for appearances, for the microscopic chance that someone might treat me like a human being. But that year, that year was different. Because this time, I walked into that house with a secret. It's like 10 bedrooms, rooftop terrace, infinity pool. You guys should come out sometime. His wife smiled tightly. The kind of smile you practice in the mirror when you're just trying to get through the night. That's when I reached into my coat. No speech. No build-up. I didn't say a word. I just pulled out the stack of photos and slid them across the table. The drive home that night felt like coming down from a high you didn't realize you were on. My eye was starting to swell shut. My sulfur monoxide had one hand on the wheel and the other on mine. Silent, processing everything just like I was. The adrenaline had burned off, and all that was left was exhaustion. But deep underneath that was peace. Not joy, not victory. Just a strange bony but calm. I had finally said something, done something. For once I didn't eat shit and smile through it. I had stood up, and yeah, it had ended with a black eye and the police being called. But you know what? Worth it. The next day, my phone lit up like Times Square. Texts, calls, missed FaceTime attempts, Facebook pings. Half the family wanted answers. The other half wanted blood. Randy's wife. Silent, at least at first, but by day 3 it became clear that the damage wasn't going away. Randy had moved out. Word spread fast. His wife had thrown his clothes into the front yard, changed the locks, and blocked him on everything. The kids were staying with her. The family group chat was a war zone. And me, I was excommunicated, blocked, ghosted, gone. Even my own parents. My mom left me a voicemail that started calm and ended in screaming. "You've embarrassed us. You couldn't just let it go, could you? You had to ruin Christmas for everyone. Your cousin made a mistake. People have affairs. You don't throw your own blood under the bus for it." Click. "No, are you okay?" "No, I'm sorry he hit you." Just disappointment. Same as always. They always said I wasn't ambitious enough, that I didn't fight for anything. Well, now that I did, they didn't like it. The betrayal wasn't surprising, but it still hurt. I didn't go online, didn't argue, didn't explain myself. I let them stew in it. Because the truth didn't need defending. What made it easier? Randy's wife. She reached out a week later. A simple message. "Thank you." Then another. I should have seen it, but I didn't want to. You probably saved me more years of lies. We met for coffee a few weeks later, just the two of us. It wasn't awkward. It was like two people standing in the wreckage of a collapsed house, nodding silently at the smoking ruins. She told me everything. How the distance in their marriage wasn't just emotional. How the gaslighting had gone on for years. How Randy would take long business trips and come back smelling like perfume. How every time she questioned him, he'd twist it until she was the problem. But now, she was done. Divorce papers were already filed. And here's the kicker: when Randy tried to fight for custody, she showed the photos. The ones I took. The ones he swore were nothing. He lost. Not just the case, but his temper. She said he screamed at her, threatened her, tried to guilt her into staying. But it was over. The court sided with her. Full custody. Limited visitation. Mandatory anger management classes. Court-mandated calls. His perfect life gone. And my life. Funny enough, it got better. That same cousin who always hated Randy, he reached out, said to her guts, "I've wanted to knock him down a peg for years. We weren't best friends overnight or anything, but for the first time I felt like someone in that family saw me. Not as a failure, not as the weird cafe guy, but as someone who had enough spine to finally say, enough." My parents didn't come around. Not really. They tried once months later when my SO and I got married. Sent a card, left a message about starting over, but I didn't answer. You don't start over with people who only care when you become someone they can control anymore. You don't rebuild a bridge they were happy to burn. Instead, I built something else. Randy's ex and I, we became friends. Not in some weird revenge bonding way. Just to people who'd been through hell and made it out the other side. Her kids started calling me uncle. My SON, I would visit, help out, spend holidays together. Real family. No judgment, no comparisons, just love. And every once in a while, I'd get another message from someone in the old clan, a passive-aggressive dig. "You're really just going to throw your family away like that? Randy made a mistake. He didn't have to ruin his life. You're still angry after all this time." To which I'd always respond some version of, "I'm not angry. I'm just done pretending any of you are ever family to me." Blocked. Again, like clockwork. They couldn't stand that I was thriving, that the guy they used to pity now had the one thing they never did. No more begging to be accepted. No more chasing validation from people who only valued status. Just me, my so, and a small circle of people who actually gave a damn. The funny part, I didn't plan any of it. I didn't seek revenge. I just saw something wrong and decided not to stay silent. But sometimes, that's all it takes. One moment of truth, one crack in the illusion, and everything changes. It's funny how people show you who they are when things fall apart. Before that Christmas dinner, I thought I had a dysfunctional but intact family. Messy, sure. Judgmental, definitely. But still family, at least on paper. After I dropped those photos, that illusion shattered, and with it, any remaining hope that blood automatically meant loyalty. In the days and weeks that followed, the divide became clear. On one side, the defenders of the status quo, the ones who didn't care that Randy cheated, lied, or manipulated. They only cared that I had the audacity to expose it. The ones who believed family secrets should stay buried, even if they were rotting beneath the surface. And on the other side, a tiny, quiet handful who saw the truth and didn't look away. Let's start with the obvious. My parents, gone, cut contact, deleted me from group chats, told other relatives I had lost my mind, and attacked Randy out of jealousy. Jealousy. That was their favorite narrative. Like I couldn't stand to see someone successful. Like my entire existence revolved around resenting it. As if I'd spent years plotting his downfall instead of just trying to survive their dinners without screaming into a plate of mashed potatoes. Then there were the aunts and uncles. Most of them followed suit. Some sent me texts like, "You could have handled it better," or "That was between Randy and his wife, not you." Others didn't say anything at all. Silence is loud when it comes from people who always had something to say about how you lived your life. But a few surprised me. That one cousin, let's call her Lena, the one who always rolled her eyes at Randy's stories and never laughed at his jokes. She called me the next day. "You did what none of us had the guts to do," she said. "Don't let them make you feel crazy." Lena had been quietly pushed out of the inner family circle for years because she chose art over law school. She knew what it was like to be treated like an outsider. We bonded over that shared history. She's one of the few who still checks in, who actually asks how I'm doing without slipping in backhanded compliments. Then there were Randy's kids. At first, it was awkward. I wasn't sure how much they knew or what they'd been told. But slowly, their mom began inviting us over more. Dinners, movie nights, weekend hangouts. My SO and I became regulars in their lives. And when they started calling me uncle, I nearly cried. Because that's what family's supposed to feel like. Not obligation, not fear of judgment. Belonging. Their love wasn't performative. It wasn't based on achievement, it was honest. Even Randy's ex, let's call her Claire, became a constant. Not just out of shared experience, but mutual respect. She told me one night, glass of wine in hand, "You didn't just save me, you reminded me I deserve better." And that hit hard, because for so long, I had been the one wondering if I deserved better. Now I knew I did. As for Randy, he spiraled. The more people found out about the affair, the harder it became for him to maintain the Golden Boy Act. Some of his business deals fell through not because of the cheating, but because people started realizing he wasn't as sharp or stable as he pretended to be. His reputation cracked. He tried reaching out once, a single, pitiful text. "You happy now?" I didn't answer, because it wasn't about happiness, it was about truth. And if he wanted to blame someone for the collapse of his life, he only had to look in the mirror. The real pain wasn't losing the family, it was realizing they were never really mine to begin with. They loved a version of me that didn't exist, the potential me, that maybe he'll become like Randy one day me. And when I chose authenticity over performance, they turned their backs. But here's the thing, I didn't need them. I had a partner who stood by me, even when things got ugly. I had friends who checked in when the rest went silent. I had a new, makeshift family that wasn't connected by blood but by love, respect, and realness. Family isn't who you share DNA with, it's who shows up when the sky falls. And when the dust settled, the people left standing weren't the ones who used to sit at the head of the table. They were the ones who saw me, really saw me, and stayed. Anyway, Randy always walked like he owned the world. Shoulders back, chin high, that smug grin like he had the universe on speed dial. He wasn't just the golden boy, he was the blueprint. The guy everyone pointed to when they wanted to remind me I hadn't made it. But after that Christmas, that walk changed. I didn't see it myself, at least not right away. But I heard about it. Whispers from cousins still on the inside. Messages from old friends who still had eyes on him from the business world. Apparently the first few weeks after everything blew up, he tried to act like nothing happened. Business as usual. Smiles still in place. The Instagram posts still filtered to perfection. But something was different. Claire had thrown him out. The kids didn't want to talk to him. His social life, once a revolving door of networking events and cocktail parties, dried up almost overnight. Word spreads fast in families and even faster in certain industries, especially when your success is built on image and legacy more than actual skill. Turns out, Randy wasn't as irreplaceable as he thought. Clients started pulling out. A few big deals fell through, not because of the affair itself, but because of the drama surrounding it. You know how it goes, nobody wants their business tied to a scandal, even a minor one. And it wasn't just the money, it was the respect, the influence, that thing Randy fed off of like oxygen gun. He tried to push back during the divorce, fought Claire tooth and nail, claimed she was alienating the kids, that she was overreacting, that I had set him up. He actually tried to make me the villain in court. Didn't work. Claire's lawyer brought the receipts, the photos, the hotel booking, the text messages from the mistress because, it turns out she got tired of the secrecy and started leaking things too. The judge didn't buy Randy's crap. Full custody went to Claire. Randy got supervised visits twice a month and had to complete an anger management program after he blew up at one of the hearings. The court order was clear. Any threatening behavior, any manipulation, and his visitation rights would be revoked. He tried to appeal, lost again. I wish I could say I felt pity, but I didn't. Not even a flicker. Because for years, Randy had everything handed to him. And instead of using that privilege to lift others up, he used it to crush people, to mock, to belittle, to cheat, lie, and still expect applause. He wasn't just a product of nepotism, he was the mascot. And now, he was just a bitter man in a condo he couldn't afford, ranting online about loyalty and cancel culture like the downfall of his life wasn't entirely his own fault. I saw one of his social media posts a few months later. It was a selfie, dark circles under his eyes. A quote in the caption, "Rock bottom teaches lessons, the top never will." Poetic. Too bad he skipped the chapter on "Don't be a cheating asshole." But the part that hit me hardest, it wasn't the business collapse or the custody loss. It was seeing how little the people around him cared once the shine wore off. All those uncles, those aunts, those family members who once worshipped him. Silent. The same ones who condemned me for ruining Christmas. They quietly backed away. No public defense, no "Randy's a good guy," really, just ... Distance. Because Randy was only useful when he made them feel superior by association. And when that was gone, so were they. He tried reaching out to me again. Another message. Less angry this time. Can we talk? You don't have to keep hating me. I stared at that text for a long time and then I deleted it. Not out of spite, out of clarity. Because I didn't hate him, I just didn't owe him anything. Randy had always believed the world was his to manipulate, that people were props in his show, that consequences were for lesser mortals. But the truth, he was just a scared little man hiding behind a curtain made of money and ego. And when that curtain dropped, there was nothing left but a mess of his own making. Meanwhile, I was living in peace. Married. Steady. Loved. Finally surrounded by people who valued me for me. So yeah, Randy fell. And I didn't even have to push. After everything exploded, after the screaming, the blocking, the betrayals, and the silence, you'd think I'd feel hollow. But I didn't. I felt free. Like I had finally stepped out of a burning house I never realized I was living in. And for the first time, I could breathe. The months that followed weren't easy, but they were honest. No more pretending. No more family dinners where I had a plaster on a smile while dodging insults disguised as concern. No more bending myself into shapes to fit a mold I never chose. I got to be me, and the people who were stuck around, they loved that version. Claire and the kids became a bigger part of my life than I ever expected. At first it was just casual checking in on her after the divorce, helping her move some boxes, dropping off dinner. But something about the way she looked at me, no pity, no expectation, just gratitude made me want to keep showing up. Her kids, they weren't just Randy's kids anymore. They were just amazing. They'd laugh at my dumb jokes, tell me about their school projects, ask me for advice about random stuff. And when they started calling me uncle, it wasn't a forced title, it was a gift. A quiet validation that I was doing something right. My SO and I built our own traditions. Holidays at our place, with mismatched dishes and a too small tree. Movie nights where everyone wore pajamas and no one judged your snack choices. No drama, no judgment, just warmth. One night Claire sat across from me at our little kitchen table. While the kids were asleep, she raised her glass and said, "You know, I thought I lost everything. But turns out, I gained a family I actually chose." That hit deep, because that's exactly what I felt. I didn't need blood ties. I didn't need validation from people who only showed up when they needed to compare bank accounts or brag about their kids. I had real love, real connection, and I wasn't giving that up for anything. Even my wedding, small, intimate, and beautiful, felt like a line in the sand. My parents tried to reconnect around then. Suddenly, they remembered I existed, tried to act polite, congratulated me like strangers trying to earn points, but I didn't invite them, not out of spite, out of peace. Because inviting them back meant inviting the pain back, the judgment, the performance, and I wasn't that person anymore. Instead, I had a front row of people who'd been in the trenches with me. Claire, the kids, my cousin Lena, my SO's family, who embraced me like one of their own. People who cried real tears during our vows. People who meant it when they said they were happy for me. That day wasn't just about love, it was about survival. It was about choosing joy, not because life made it easy, but because we fought for it. And that's a thing I wish I could go back and tell my younger self. You don't have to keep proving yourself to people who already decided you're not enough. You don't have to chase approval like it's currency. You don't have to stay where you're tolerated just because they share your last name. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't exposing someone else's lies. It is living a life so full of truth and peace that the people who hurt you can even recognize the person you've ever become. So yeah, I lost a family, but I gained a better one, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. They always said I was the failure, the one who wouldn't amount to anything. But funny how quickly people forget their insults when they think there's something to gain. It didn't happen right away. After the Christmas blow up and the aftermath, most of them ghosted me completely. Radio silence. And honestly, I didn't miss it. My life felt quieter, healthier, cleaner without their voices in my ear. I wasn't waiting for approval anymore. I had my people. But then came the wedding. It was small and perfect. No drama, no audience, just love. And somehow, probably through some nosy ant, word got out that I was officially off the market. That's when the messages started. Not apologies, not accountability. Just carefully worded, lukewarm check-ins. Congrats on the wedding. Would love to catch up sometime. Heard you've been doing well, proud of you, proud of me. The same people who told me I'd never do anything worthwhile were now saying they were proud, as if a few kind words could erase years of snide remarks, judgmental whispers, and outright emotional abuse. And the worst part, they acted like nothing had ever happened. No mention of the Christmas dinner, no acknowledgement of the punch, no accountability for the years that they treated me like a running joke at the family table. Just fake smiles and olive branches that felt more like fishing lines. Because they didn't miss me. They missed the idea of me. The punching bag, the fallback, the guy they could mock at dinner and still feel good about themselves. But that guy was gone. At first I ignored them, left messages unread, turned down every invitation with a simple "I'm busy." But they kept trying. Aunt June invited me to a barbecue. Uncle Greg sent me a book he thought I'd find interesting. My mom left a voicemail so sweet it actually made me laugh. They didn't want reconciliation. They wanted closure on their terms. They wanted to skip the part where they took accountability. They wanted to feel better without doing the work. One day I finally responded. My mom had sent a text that said, "We miss you. Don't let the past keep us from moving forward." So I replied, "Moving forward means owning the past. If you're ready to talk about everything, I'm listening, but I'm not pretending none of it happened." She left me unread. That was the last time I heard from her. Others tried to. "Life's too short," one cousin said. "We're family, no matter what." But here's the thing, I already had a family. One that actually showed up. One that didn't tie love to performance. One that celebrated my joy without needing me to fail first. When you find people like that, you don't go back to the ones who only showed up when they thought they were losing you. So no, I didn't cave. I didn't accept the fake peace offerings or attend the awkward reunion invite. I let them live with the silence they gave me first. And I kept living my life loudly, freely, and unapologetically. Because the real revenge is moving on so well, they can't stand to watch it. There was a time I believed I had to earn love. That if I just worked harder, tried more, proved myself enough times, maybe I'd finally be good enough for the people who raised me. But what I've then learned is that some people only love the version of you that fits their narrative. And the second you step outside that role, the second you stop shrinking to make them comfortable, they call it betrayal. What they call disgrace, I now call freedom. I spent so many years being the black sheep, the disappointment, the underachiever. But the truth, I wasn't any of those things. I just refused to sell my soul for status. I chose happiness over hustle, peace over pretending, and love over legacy. They hated that. They said I was wasting my potential, that I wasn't trying hard enough. But in the end, they were chasing approval from each other, while I was building something real. Now, I have a home full of laughter, a partner who loves me exactly as I am, nieces and nephews who run into my arms and call me uncle, friends who show up without being asked, and most importantly, a life that's mine, not a performance, not a compromise. Randy's story was just a spark. What happened to him wasn't revenge, it was consequence. And what happened to me wasn't luck, it was healing. Because sometimes, you don't need to destroy someone to win. Sometimes, the loudest victory is walking away without bitterness and never looking back. They tried to make me feel small, but in the end, I found something bigger. So if you're out there being the black sheep, the outcast, the disgrace, just know this. You don't have to become who they expect. You don't have to beg to belong. You can build something better. And when you do, don't look back. Because the life you deserve, it's ahead of you, not behind. If this story hit home, drop a comment and let me know what your version of peace looks like. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs a reminder. Sometimes the best revenge is living a life they never saw coming.